Welcome to The Bottom Line with John Harrison, your tour guide through all things financial. Build out your financial skill set with crucial knowledge and tactics and easy to follow answers to all your essential money questions. And now, your host, certified financial planner, ordained minister, multi-published author, and president of Aspire Financial Advisors, John Harrison.
Hello, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm John F. Harrison, your host. And in this episode, we have kind of a sensitive topic. I know that it's one that people have very strong feelings, either pro or against. I want to talk to you in this episode about what is typically called MLM. And for most people, that stands for multi-level marketing. I have a slightly different spin on it, and I like to think that it means much less money than recruiters tell you it means. And the reason we want to bring this is because it's one of those things that goes around in waves. And in my observations over the last, let's call it 20 to 25 years, I've seen it wreck a lot of people's finances, end some friendships, and divide churches, split churches sometimes. And it's all a lot of drama and stress over something that I think most people could easily avoid being caught up in. The question is always asked, is MLM a pyramid scheme? They will all say no. I tend to say yes, but I'm going to give you a way to find out for sure whether or not what you're looking at really is one, regardless of what anyone says. So hang on to your hats, be ready to take some notes, and when we come back, we'll look at all the ways to tell whether that thing you're considering getting involved in is in fact a pyramid. MLM, multi-level marketing, or just much less money when we come back from this break. Stay tuned.
People say I've got a great smile. Well, I have to say, this is all thanks to the professional team at Beacon Dental Group right here in Dorchester, Massachusetts. I've got world-class dental care. Beacon Dental Group has expert and caring staff dedicated to providing the most advanced and satisfactory treatment in all aspects of oral health. Their services are designed to meet your needs and give you a perfect smile, too. General checkups, cosmetic surgery, Gemini laser service, and advanced procedures, all in a state-of-the-art facility. Call or visit Beacon Dental Group today, 1026 Blue Hill Avenue, Dorchester, Massachusetts, or call 617-282-2146 for a smile that lights the world.
All right, we're talking about MLMs. And the first question that comes up is, are they legit business opportunities or are they pyramid schemes? And everyone has a different take on that. The MLMs themselves go to great lengths to tell you that they are not pyramid schemes. In fact, they call themselves all sorts of things so they don't sound like everybody else's MLM. So they will call it network marketing, or they will call it peer-to-peer marketing, or there's a new term invented for it every year, but the structure is multi-level distributorship marketing. And the question is that by definition a pyramid scheme? Again, if you ask them, they will say no, and the way they'll do it is they'll typically say, well, we're not a pyramid scheme because pyramid schemes are illegal, as if saying that proves they're not one. It's like somebody gets pulled over for speeding, and the cop walks up to the driver's window and says, sir, do you know how fast you were going? And the driver says, well, I couldn't have been speeding because speeding is illegal. Obviously, it's illegal, but it doesn't have any bearing on whether or not you were doing it. And the same is true with MLMs. Simply them saying, we can't be a pyramid scheme because pyramids are illegal doesn't prove that they're not a pyramid scheme. That's just a non sequitur there. But that's typically what they will do. One of the things you need to know is that the biggest MLMs in the country donate millions of dollars to political campaigns and to political parties as lobbyists to help make sure that their companies don't get classified as pyramid schemes. You might be surprised to know, for instance, that last year the company Primerica donated more money to political causes than did, say, Chase Manhattan Bank or Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. The MLMs have a solid presence in the lobbyist space, and they spend money, in my opinion, to help make sure that they are guiding the politicians into exempting them from being lumped into any description of a pyramid scheme. Be that as it may, with any MLM, with or without a product to sell, because that has traditionally been the defining element of a pyramid, is that there's no product. It's all just layers of people paying into a system. So by having a product, they all go, see, we're not a pyramid. But they often behave like one, product or no. And if that's what you're looking at, if that's what the outfit that you're considering partnering with does, then it's going to take a whole bunch of your time, a whole bunch of your money. It is likely not to make you any money and probably separate you from some of your friends and family. I'm going to give you some of the signs to look for. I'm going to list 10. Each one of them is a red flag by itself. If you see 3 or more of these things in any one network marketing, peer-to-peer marketing, multi-level marketing company, whatever it calls itself, if you see 3 or more of these signs, my advice is to grab your wallet and run from that recruiter. We're going to list them now, and I'm just going to objectively tell you what the differences are between a legit business, these are always marketed as business opportunities, and these things. So, you ready? We'll write them down in order. Number 1, you get invited to a recruitment meeting. It could be one-on-one or in a group. And the interview consists of them selling the opportunity rather than being a selective search for who can qualify. In other words, if you want to get a job in IT for any company, pick a company out of the phone book that's near you. You want to get hired as an IT consultant, or you want to get hired as an HR manager, or you want to get hired as a diversity, equity, and inclusion manager. Whatever the title is, when you go for the interview, you're going to sit down with a hiring manager who is going to be looking for reasons not to hire you. They're going to look at your resume. They're going to grill you about your experience. They're going to ask you awkward questions like, what's your biggest weakness? Or tell me about a time that you failed. They just want to see how you're going to answer that. And the reason for all the questions is, they've got one job opening. They've got maybe 50 people applying for the job, and they're looking to see who they can bump out, who they can take out of the running right off the bat. So you're competing to get in. At an MLM, it's different. They're throwing bodies at a problem. If you can fog a mirror and sign your name, the odds are they will hire you. And so their interview does not consist of, tell us why you're qualified. Tell us why we'd be better off hiring you than the other 49 people we're interviewing. No, their interview consists of persuading you what a great opportunity this is and how you should sign up for it. That is in and of itself a bad sign. Really great opportunities don't have to go in search of people to take advantage of them. But if they're constantly recruiting and trying to persuade you that this is a good idea, that's a sign you may be dealing with a pyramid scheme. Number 2, in this interview or in this recruiting meeting, and typically it's going to be in a group meeting, you're sitting in with a bunch of people who either are potential recruits or are already working for the company. They appeal to your hopes and your greed by emphasizing the big money that can be made. Almost no other line of work does that. If you were looking for a normal job, a salaried position, they'll give you a price range. Well, the salary for whomever we're looking to hire will range between $90,000 and $110,000 depending on experience, something like that. If you're looking for a commission sales job, as let's say you're going to be a car salesman. A recent episode we did was about cars. Let's say you're going to be a new car salesman in a dealership. They'll give you an idea of what people make, and if they've got successful salesmen, there are some that make very, very good money. But they won't spend most of your interview emphasizing how much money you're going to make doing this, how much financial freedom you're going to have, how you're going to live this ostentatious life of your dreams. Big house, big car, travel to exotic islands, all of that they do in these MLM meetings. They want you seeing dollar signs and high living. They specialize particularly in people who are maybe struggling financially and saying, man, if you sign up with us, it's going to revolutionize your life. You're going to turn things around. You're going to make so much money. And that's just not a legit thing that even people who start businesses, a guy who starts a restaurant, knows that if he can make it as successful as, say, the Berkowitz family made Legal Seafoods, yeah, he'll do okay. There are millionaire owners of restaurants, but they also know that the hours are long, the expenses are high, the margins are small, and that most restaurants actually fail. And the same is true with most small businesses in any field. So if you are considering buying a McDonald's franchise, McDonald's at your interview does not just load you down with stories about how rich you're going to be after you buy this McDonald's. But MLM companies always do that. Oh, there's so much money to be made. The world is your oyster. Your dreams are the limit. The sky's the limit. You know, the smarter you work it, the more money you'll make. We're in the business of making millionaires. That's a red flag. It's an appeal to greed, and it's not realistic because they are required by law to give you a breakdown of what their average producer earns. And in most of these MLMs, the average producer, I'm talking about the people selling vitamins for Melaleuca, I'm talking about people selling term life insurance products for Primerica. All these, they have hundreds of thousands of recruits. On average, they're earning $8,000 to $12,000 per year. And since that's an average, that includes the very few at the top of the org chart that are making a bunch of money. So most people are making next to nothing, and quite a few people are actually losing money. They are spending more money on the business opportunity than the opportunity is generating. So beware of big dollar signs being dangled in front of you as a recruiting technique. Number 3, you've got to pay money for a starter kit in order to begin selling or marketing whatever it is that company sells or markets. These are the only companies, and they'll emphasize, you know, you're not an employee, you're 1099, but their first sale as a company is to you. And in fact, with many of these companies, the people in your so-called upline, the people upstream from you, are making a significant percentage of their money from stuff they sell you, your starter kits, your training guides, your how-to books, your first products, because they'll tell you in order to effectively sell the product, you have to use the product, so buy some for yourself. And much of the revenue these organizations make is from the stuff they sell their recruits. If you see that happening, that's a red flag that you could be dealing with a pyramid scheme. We're only through 3. I've got 10. We need to take a break to pay some bills. When we come back, I'll give you the rest, and you can decide whether the opportunity is an opportunity or not. Stay tuned.
Do you want to make a bold statement? Do you want to stand out in the room? Check in with us before you step out. On-demand designs and timeless statement pieces are here to channel your impeccable style from this season to the next. You can have it all, so go get it and be confident when you do. Jewels on Demand, inspiring elegance and confidence.
Welcome back. We're talking about MLMs, which I'm convinced stands not for multi-level marketing, but for much less money than they told you. We ended the last segment by saying that, if you've got to pay for a bunch of stuff to get started, your starter kits, your initial product, training manuals, how-to books, motivational things, if you've got to drive around and pay to go to conventions so that you can hear some rah-rah speaker tell you, how great it's going to be, and they'll parade the successes in front of you, all that stuff is taking money out of your pocket, that's a bad sign. It's a sign that they make their money by selling you that stuff rather than selling the product to end users who aren't affiliated with them. Here is another indicator that that's what's happening. You are told upon being recruited that you recruiting other people is crucial to your success. In what other line of work do people with a product to sell deliberately recruit their own competition? If you're trying to sell to the public in your area, is what you want more people trying to sell the same things to the same people? If you open a restaurant on the corner, are you hoping that other restaurants open on the corners opposite you, so there's 4 of them in that intersection rather than just yours? If you're the car salesman, do you hope the dealer hires 50 more salesmen to deal with the people who come in so that the sales are divided among more people? No, of course not. No one wants to recruit their own competition. But in the MLM world, you're told that your success is always built on recruiting. Recruit more people, recruit more bodies, and that gets you to a higher commission rate, a higher payout rate, and it gives you a little piece of everybody's sales in your downline. But again, that's just proof that the income comes from the sale of the recruiting kits and the startup fees to the organization, and not so much from sales to the general public, because nobody wants to oversaturate an area with competitors who will be trying to reach the same people that you are trying to reach. So that's a red flag. Red flag number 5, you go to recruitment meetings and you get love bombed. By love bombed, it's a tactic, I'm referring to a tactic that cults use. You walk into the group and everyone is so happy to see you, and you're getting handshakes and hugs and congratulations for being there, and all these people telling you how wonderful you're going to do and what a great fit you are, and you're going to make so many friends here. And after that meeting, people are calling you and that kind of thing. That's love bombed. And if you are, let's say, a stay-at-home housewife, maybe you're a little bit lonely, and suddenly you're in that group and you got all these new friends and they just think the world of you, it's a powerful influence. It's also a technique, because you easily get addicted to the acceptance and the affection that the group is showing you. And then at some future point, they can easily withhold that if you're not passing muster with them. If you decide to leave the organization, all these people who loved you will drop you like a bad habit. If you're just not doing well, you'll find that love bombing tends to go away, and that can be financially devastating to people. I should say psychologically devastating to people, even if they know that it's happening. That's why the cults do it, and do it so effectively, because people get psychologically tied in and feel they can't leave because they can't do without the love bombing. So if you find yourself out of all rhyme and reason at a meeting as a new person, and you're just getting, this overwhelming sense of everyone is so happy you're here, be wary of that. That's a red flag. You don't get that at job interviews. You don't get that if you start your own business. But you do get it at MLMs, and it's a manipulation technique. Which brings us to our next point. I believe we're talking about point 6, this one, 6 or 7, I lost count. but you're hopefully taking notes and keeping count. The atmosphere at meetings and conventions, and they have all these conventions, the atmosphere is like a church revival service. They got lights, they got smoke machines, they got people giving tearful testimonies, they got people up on stage going, this thing has changed my life and I'm so grateful, thank you, insert name of company here, and just rah, they bring up the person on stage to give them their new car or their vacation or whatever they won, somebody way high up the org. And the whole point is to make you feel, yeah, I can do that. Look what they're getting. I want that next. I'm going to, ask 30 more people that I know to get involved in this. I'm going to recruit more friends and family and church members to get involved. If you feel like you're at a revival service when you are in fact at a business meeting, you are probably being manipulated. And if it's an MLM, it's probably a pyramid. That's a red flag that you need to consider walking away. You are encouraged to sell the product to the very people you recruit, as opposed to the general public. We sort of touched on this one earlier, but that's a red flag. A big pipeline, an upline of 5 to 6 people, earning a chunk of money every time you sell something is a red flag, because you've got 5 or 6 people being paid who added no value for the end user. It's just levels of bureaucracy, levels of divvying the money up without adding value. If you're a car manufacturer, if you're General Motors, and you buy a part from Delphi Automotive, and you're going to buy this part and install it into the GM cars you manufacture. Well, you pay Delphi some money, and they add value to the car because the part adds value to the car. And you make up, you add that cost to the end user and so on, and that's very straightforward. With the MLM, those 6 layers of upline, what do they do at each layer for the customer who bought the product from you? Nothing, which raises an ethical question. One of the things that most MLMs claim is that they are more cost effective. They're doing the end user a favor because, they don't have big buildings and they don't have all these things that add to the cost of overhead in regular companies. No, but you get 6 people who are getting paid for transactions they weren't involved in. You get 6 layers of people who add no value to the end user but still account for part of the price of the product. The product is by definition overpriced. So rather than thinking, hey, I'm doing people a great favor by giving this, you've got to realize, hey, I'm overcharging people because of the structure of this thing. I'm not helping my end user as much as I'm overcharging them. That's a feature, not a bug, in MLMs. Another item, this is item number 9 if I'm counting right. The company has what I call the Elijah complex. You know Elijah, the prophet in the Old Testament. And after his great victory on Mount Carmel over the prophets of Baal, Queen Jezebel had it out for him. And he fled, found himself in a cave in the wilderness, and he says to the Lord, they're out to get me, and his bottom line was that everyone's gone over to Baal, and only I am left. And the Lord kind of straightened him out on that and said, yet I have reserved unto myself 7,000 names down there who have not bowed the knee to Baal nor kissed his image. It's not just you, Elijah. No matter how you feel, you're not alone. And the Lord basically had him have a snack, take a nap, and he'd feel better later. But in the MLM world, the primary way of marketing is to say that of all the companies in the world that do this, we're the only good ones. We're the only water filter company that really filters the water. We're the only vitamin that really has all this stuff in it and is tested and all that. We're the only inexpensive term life insurance, when in fact, I know on the life insurance side, I deal with that as part of my financial planning work. There's all kind of companies that have term insurance less expensive than some of the ones who claim to be the only ones doing the right thing by the client. So you have this Elijah complex. It's another red flag. It's a sign that you're probably dealing with a pyramid scheme. Last but not least, I'll say this one really quickly. It's cult-like, us versus them. People either encourage you and join and agree to be recruited, or they're an enemy, they're a negative influence that you need to cut yourself off from. You will find you lose relationships with family, friends, and even church members over this. If you see that, it's a pyramid scheme. Hey, we've got to try to wrap this up, put a bow on it. When I come back, we'll do just that. Hang on.
The Well Jamaican Restaurant, located at 55 Mazio Drive in Randolph, Mass., where good food and fellowship meet daily. Check out our variety of fresh and tasty entrees and sides from our menu or the website, thewellja.com, like our jerk chicken, oxtails and rice, seafood, desserts, and more. With our drinks and juices made fresh daily, you have the option to dine in or take out. We can also cater your special event, or you can book our private dining room and let us host your special event. At the Well Jamaican Restaurant, we pride ourselves on providing superior quality food and beverages, and of course, great customer service. Next time you're in the mood for Jamaican cuisine, meet us at the Well Jamaican Restaurant. Become part of the family. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. The Well, where good food and fellowship meet daily.
Welcome back. Here's a takeaway on MLM. Maybe what we need to do is check our emotions, sort of leave our emotions at the door. What do I mean by that? You know, hope can be a little irrational. I read just a few days ago when the Powerball lottery hit $1 billion gross prize, that a woman went into a convenience store and bought $800 worth of Powerball tickets 2 consecutive days. $1,600 worth of tickets altogether. Maybe I don't even know how much they cost. Are they $2 each, $10 each? I don't know. I don't play the game. I think the lotteries is a tax on the mathematically challenged. But she ended up with $1,600 worth of tickets where the odds were still nearly 300 million to 1. Don't think she won. Someone did. But you get kind of crazy when hopes run out of control. MLMs, pyramid schemes, count on this. They dangle the carrot, the huge money, the glitzy lifestyle in front of your eyes. They show you people in your upline who seem to be doing very well. A lot of them aren't, by the way. With all of their stuff, a lot of them what are called garage qualified. They bought a ton of the product themselves and stored it in their garage. They got no one to sell it to, but they're required to get that much passing through their hands when they're at that level in the company. So even the people who seem to be doing well might not be. Someone tells you they are, ask for 1099s. If they can't show you that, then it didn't happen. So the bottom line for this topic is beware of this stuff in your family, beware of this stuff in your church, because it can hurt people, it can leave people worse off financially than they were when they started. If you want to know about a specific company and what the track record is and what the advice is, you can reach out to us. You can always call me, 978-775-5435 at the office, or email john.harrison@aspirefa.com. We'll be happy to talk you through what may turn out to be an important piece of financial self-defense. That's it for this episode. Remember, as I always say, from wherever you are to wherever you're going, you can get there from here. You just need a little direction for the journey. And that's the bottom line.